I'm really looking forward to today's scramble. It's Sourmilk Gill, which is behind me, one of the Central Lake District's, indeed the whole of the Lake District's best known Grade 1 scrambles. Well known perhaps in part because it is so easily visible from many miles around, and also because there is so much of it. 150 feet or more of continuous waterfalls flowing out of Easedale Tarn. Get yourself to Grasmere by car, by the lovely 555 bus, by bike, by whatever, and then head west up the Easedale Road and then through the meadows with Sourmilk Gill always ahead of you. You've got a couple of options at this point. You can either walk up the main path and then down to the start of the falls, or go right and across the bridge and walk up. I've chosen to cross the footbridge and walk up to the foot of the falls because it involves open ground and a reasonably well-defined path. Moving up towards that foot, you can already see the scrambling friendly slab profile of the first bit of Sourmilk Gill. This slightly frothy pool marks the start to the Sourmilk Gill scramble, and already we can see some of the pros and cons. Pretty much all of the rock is slick with either algae or slimy moss, but the incline is favourable. There are lots of different routes up, and it is lovely and big. Sourmilk Gill is a series of waterfalls separated by small pools. The one coming up is around about 30 feet high, and it's not rained very much for the last few days, so the water levels that you're seeing are relatively low. At the big picture level, the route is obvious. You just follow the water upwards. But in terms of specifics for each one of the falls, you have to stop at the beginning of each of them and really look and think how you are going to find your way up. As a generalisation, I've been taking the left-hand side of the waterfalls, and that seems to have worked okay. But at this point, the gill splits, and if you take the left-hand side, you're going to come to a point where there's a fallen tree blocking your route. So instead, go up the right. I would really question the grading of Sourmilk Gill. Yeah, it's slabby in profile. Yes, there are different options for taking routes up, but it is so greasy that you are having to think very, very carefully about every single move of your hand, every single move of your foot. There are other surprises too. My leg went in up to my thigh at one point in a gap between rocks that I wasn't expecting. And you're having to make decisions, often with cold water pouring down on your head. So personally, I think this is a grade 2 scramble. This is the most difficult of the falls so far because it runs up from a neck deep pool, and within the pool there is a continuous overhang. It's also, as you see, an overhang across the left hand side. The way I found up was to just get up here, come across, and then go up the right hand side. There are a few small cascades above, but this is the last set of falls on Sourmilk Gill, maybe about 15 feet high. Significantly overhung, but there's a route up to the right hand side. You'll have no difficulty identifying the end point of the scramble. It's this tree and small pool where the gradient of the gill rapidly flattens off. Incidentally, I can recommend that pool as a natural flotation tank, which is quite fun. Sourmilk Gill itself does carry on up, flats quite a long while, and then the gradient increases just underneath Easedale Tarn, but it's only a 0.5 scramble at most and really isn't worth bothering with. So that was Sourmilk Gill. It's not going to get away with a grade 1 rating. That was definitely a grade 2. There's plenty of it. It's non-stop scrambling. And the thing I liked most about it was the problem solving. The fact that you have to stand at the base of each of the waterfalls and really think through, how am I going to get up that? That was very satisfying. And it feels like a real achievement to have done it. But it is really, really slippery. And that makes for quite slow going, and as a result I would say it was challenging, but I wouldn't call it enjoyable. I probably will come back here though, so overall going to give it a 7.5 out of 10.
And lastly, here's a map of the route. Blue for the walk in and back from parking in Grasmere, red for the actual scramble. Further details are given in the text description underneath the video.